Our topic is
Empty nesting.
empty nesting, which is what we're doing right now.
I know. I am. I'm literally
Enjoying it.
I'm on this lovely porch that I got from my insurance payout. Because a tree knocked the other one off.
It just happened to coincide with your children, though.
It did, but it feels like I'm like, oh man, if we'd had this when the kids were little, we really would have used it.
I was just thinking about that. I was thinking, if you had little ones, you could put like a little gate there and put a sandbox out here, and
It's true.
yeah, it would be great. Okay, but empty nesting. What do you want to say about it? How did we?
It's awesome. My kids have been graduated from high school for a couple of years, but I'm only just now empty nesting because my dancer just left.
Yeah. So he's out. So you have an empty house. So I've had an empty house longer.
Yes.
How does it feel to you?
To me?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's great. I mean, I do miss my kids.
I think you just have to be ready for your kids to go.
Yes.
So we were talking about this when we were walking back from the farmer's market. And I was saying that Truffaut, his very first year, like first few months at Hamilton, he called me up and said he's not coming home for Thanksgiving. And instead he's going to Canada with a friend he had up there.
Where no one even celebrates Thanksgiving on the way.
He had a great time.
They do it on a different day.
He had a great time. And I was just like, oh, okay. And he didn't even ask me.
Yeah.
He just called up and said, this is what I'm doing. And it's like,
good.
Yeah. And that's kind of that's the transition right there. That's just like, he's an adult.
Yeah.
He went to college and then he decided he was not coming home. And it's like, okay. I was happy for him.
Yeah. I mean, I miss my kids. I don't want to be, but we were talking too about people being all like, oh, it's so sad. Oh, how are you coping?
Yeah. Especially with,
especially to women.
Especially to women. Mm-hmm.
I don't like that vibe.
No. And assuming that if you're a male, you're fine.
Right.
I don't like that vibe either.
I don't either. Everyone has their own journey with the kids, sort of with the steps that they take towards independence.
Yeah.
And I do think that you need to be pro kid independence. You need to encourage them to get out of the house if they need to come back, then that's one thing.
Right.
Or if there's health challenges or there's some reason that they can't. Yeah, exactly. But and everybody has their own emotional journey and feelings about that. But the assumption that we're supposed to be so sad about it.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
The way it's framed. You can be sad about it.
Yeah. But the flip side too, I don't like the expectation that if you're not sad about it, somehow you aren't like a good mother or you're not.
You didn't do enough or something.
Right. Or you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No.
Regardless, they're leaving and you have to work through, figure out your next steps.
The thing is, it's really hard sometimes. I do think we're simplifying it a little bit. But I do think it is really hard sometimes on parents to, especially when it's your youngest, to suddenly find yourself without that huge focus that you had before, especially with homeschooling. Yeah. You're so focused on the student and their education and everything. Mm-hmm. And to actually then suddenly find yourself without that on a daily basis can be difficult. But I think, it's also very freeing.
Yes.
You get a lot of freedom and it's quite enjoyable if you're in the moment, I think. And not worried so much about your kids when they're away, because there's a lot of anxiety around parenting these days. A lot of parents have so much anxiety if they can't get in touch or they can't. Mm-hmm. And if you just let that go and trust that they're okay, I think you can enjoy yourself more during the transition.
I mean, you did the job and you have to trust. It's not just trusting them. You have to trust that you did the right things.
You just trust
that you equipped them and that that you've provided them with this really good base, educationally, emotionally, all of that.
Yeah.
And then let it go.
And then just reward yourself.
Yes.
Because you work so hard.
I think it's, it's a reason to, there's lots of different ways to do high school with your kids, but I think it is a reason to back off a little bit, to pull back.
Yeah.
So that you don't go from micromanaging every aspect of their lives to nothing. They're gone. They're out of the house.
I think it's also good for them, because to go from being micromanaged your whole day to have to suddenly be in charge of yourself, that's a huge step if there's nothing in between.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, really good.
Yeah.
So what have you been enjoying with an empty nest? Do you like the term empty nest?
No, I think
don't
it's
even
kind of
know.
sad. I mean, I don't hate it. It's whatever. I don't have feelings about it. I
I do.
like how much cleaner it is. I like how less I have to go to the grocery store, and how if I buy like a snack food, it's still there a week later and I can finish it off like when I'm ready, instead of like fighting to get a share of it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's such an over exaggeration. Like, clearly I'm not dying here, but like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, those are basics. I like the dynamic with my spouse. I think it's nice.
So, yeah.
I like the travel. Like,
Travel's
I don't have to be like, "Hey kid, I mean, it's nice.
It's easier.
It is. It's simplified. I can pick up and go.
It's like us.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
I would say if you're single, you might suddenly find yourself all alone. Which is good.
You found other things to do.
I did. A lot of other things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. Fill your time up a bit so you're not just sitting at home.
You found other people to
Other people and hobbies.
Yeah,
and
that's
talents. True. We went dancing last night.
We did go dancing last night.
It was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I don't know if that has to do with being an empty nester, but you kind of discover new hobbies in that once your kids are gone. I find that.
I mean, I think it's not directly, but I do think like you have to go out and have some fun.
Yeah.
And be your own person.
Especially before you have grandkids, if that's in the future. I think it's nice to be.
Is anyone gonna have grandkids in the future?
Know.
No one's having. No, these kids aren't having kids. They're never.
I'm not counting on it.
I'm not either.
Definitely not counting on it. I would love it, but
yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not. It's too soon, but like,
yeah, mine are a little older.
Yeah, that's true.
Twins are a little older.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they're older than
I was when I.
Yes.
So funny. So funny. No, I love being an empty nester. I think one of the really key reasons I love it so much is because we have a business.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I were talking about that. And I think you don't have to, but for us, kind of starting something new
mm-hmm.
and being in partnership being in partnership with someone who's going through menopause
mm-hmm.
is very helpful. And you understand me and I understand you for the most part. Like 99%. But it's really good.
We need each other.
We do need
as part of this business.
Cheers to that.
Oh, are we clinking again?
Yeah. Cheers. Did you say tea?
I said tea.
Okay, tea.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
Mm-hmm.
We do. I couldn't do this alone. I could, but I wouldn't enjoy it.
No. It wouldn't. That. I'll tell you, I would be frustrated and I would have given up. Like,
yeah, it's so good because once in a while we call each other and we're like, I can't do this anymore. And the other person's like, you can't leave me all alone with all this work. And then it's like, oh yeah, that's true. And then we get back on track.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always good. So it's good to like maybe have a new business or something.
Yeah, no, I think, I think it just at this stage of life, it's good to make sure you're connected to people and groups and so like whether that's like a new business or like a volunteer thing or your church or a club or a book club or anything. I just think
hiking group.
Yeah, totally. I just
outdoors. Think I'm exercising with friends like it.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I find that because I never had time really.
I mean, I still don't have time. I am exercising more, but I just hate exercise. I've always hated it.
Yeah, I've discovered I love it. It's something new to particularly biking and jogging.
I can't ride a bike.
I know. I got a teacher. I'll do that. Sure.
I
Yes, that's a great thing to do now that you're in.
I grew up on a gravel road. It's not my fault.
Okay. I grew up on a gravel.
Oh.
You were the oldest.
It's true, yeah.
I had all those brothers who I had to keep up.
I mean, there was nowhere that you could get from my gravel road. There was nowhere to go.
I just wanted to be like,
It was too much in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
So I've been riding my bike for a very long time. Anyway, I've rediscovered it
That's
in this new
nice.
stage of life.
Yeah.
So it's really good.
Yeah.
So in a year, we'll make a video and I will show you Farrah riding a bike.
That's not happening. I mean, I'm not against learning. I just, I don't think it's going to happen.
It's like that scene from
A professional, one of my good friends is a professional bike teacher, and she's still going to teach me.
Well, that's a challenge. So
Good
now
job.
I'm going to take it on. Now I'm going to take it on. So it'll be like the scene from Ted Lasso.
Oh, that's right.
When
Oh,
Jamie
that's
learns to
cute.
ride his bike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's adorable.
We're going to have a cute little video. Oh my God.
You're just doing it for the. Oh, can we go to Amsterdam?
We go to England for sure.
But didn't that happen?
That did happen in Amsterdam. I'd have to bring my bike over to Amsterdam.
I mean, can you just stick it on the channel and?
Yeah. Okay. I'll bring it. But you have to have a bike. You have to rent one.
It's fine.
Okay. We have all these plans because we can now. We have all this freedom.
I don't. It's nice that you brought it back, but I think that was very forced.
So
I predict you cut this part.
it's too forced.
It's too forced. That was shoehorned in. If that was a kid's essay, I'd be like, I'm sorry, you can't. Yeah, I'd be like,
This whole
I'd
section.
be like, I'd be on suggestions, and I'd be like, delete, and then I'd be like, this is just a suggestion, but I don't think this works.
And you know what I would say?
What?
Undelete.
You'd be one of these kids like reject,
all your
and then I get like the email, and I'm like, dude.
Look at me. I mean, just saying. Okay. Anyway, let's get.
It's not. Many students do that. I'm just going to tell
So
you.
I'm one of many. I'm not that special.
Oh,
Makes me sad.
oh, you're special.
And I can't throw me. So
In a.
it's so far common.
It's like a Mr. Rogers way. It's why I needed tea because I'm sleepy.
It's like my 10th tea today.
Is it?
Yeah.
No wonder you're not sleeping well. That's not menopause. That's too much caffeine.
It's both.
Oh, it might be both.
It's definitely both. Okay, what else?
I mean, that's kind of it. I mean, do you have other? What's your favorite thing about being an empty nester?
Probably having a ton of freedom to do what I want without really having to. I think because I was a single parent too, so if I left or something, the kids were just on their own. So yeah, I just like being able to have freedom to go everywhere I want to go and do what I want to do.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to, because it's a pros and cons kind of thing. It's like positives and negatives, where some people are very focused on the like, but I miss my kid.
Yeah.
And I think you have to sort of flip it and be like, well, but I have this freedom, or I have new possibilities.
Yeah.
Which at this age is nice to sort of think about. That we're old, but we're not old. It's like a weird stage of life.
Definitely old.
But it's
definitely feel old.
like, I mean, my mom is still around, and I'm like, well, I got plenty of time, know, but it's not.
My parents are old.
So I'm like old, but not,
Yeah. I was just thinking, the thing that I like to frankly remind myself, because every journey is different, one of my kids actually came back home a lot. But to see them all successful now brings me so much joy. So if I ever feel like, oh, I miss, because I see memories on Facebook, and you're looking through them and you're like, oh my God, I miss that so much. But flip side, they're all doing so good and I'm so proud. And then that allows me to just enjoy myself a little bit.
Yeah.
And another thing that really helped me is last summer. I think it was last summer. No, it was like summer 23. I was in Europe, but I picked up my son Declan, who had just gotten back from Kyrgyzstan. He flew to Europe.
Yeah.
And he was so happy to see me and everything. And then at the end, we went off together, just him and me. So the twins weren't there. And he gave me a long speech about how I had done everything so well. And they were all in a happy place. Yeah, he did this. I mean, I think he planned it or something. And that he was fine and the twins are fine and they're all good. And I need to focus on myself. And I was allowed to do whatever I wanted. That's what he said. It was so sweet.
Wow.
Yeah, and I always remember that. So it was good, sweet. Yeah.
That is sweet.
Yeah. And he said thank you. He said thank you from all of us. Yeah, such a sweet kid.
feel like I relish my kids' success now in new ways.
Yeah.
Which I didn't like. I mean, not that I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so proud of my kids when they were here, but it's a different way when they like text you and tell you things and you're like, oh my gosh, you're doing such a great job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and so it's really cool to see, my kid who is, up in college, and he's having these successful experiences with professors, and navigating interpersonal relationships really well. And
He's doing so good.
I mean, it's his first apartment, and, posting little like debate watch parties and things like that. I think it's just, he's doing such a great job. And then, my other kid, off on his own,
Dude's also doing a great
first,
job.
yeah. And with his, first real job, and like, first dance, contracted position,
And first apartment.
And roommates, and and he's just also, and it was, I have to say, like, last year at this time I was worried about him.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of like, okay, he's fine as a roommate, but like, is he ever gonna this or that or whatever? And like, now it's like, oh, it was so good, he needed that push.
Yeah.
And now I feel much better about him.
Yeah.
Even if he were to come home now, it'd be
okay.
It would be different.
Yeah.
The dynamic would be different. And I would know that he can make it on his own.
Because he's done it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so nice.
He's doing it.
He is doing it. He's doing it. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're not an empty nester yet, you have that to look forward to.
Yes. Look forward to it.
And start thinking about yourself.
Thinking about envisioning what, possibilities there are. Like, Yeah. There was a point at which in college I was thinking about leaving college.
Okay.
After my first year.
Right.
And I remember I was very stuck about it. Like, was I going to transfer? Was I going to stay and finish? Like, what was I going to do? And somebody told me to sit down and make like a list of all the craziest possibilities that I could imagine doing instead. And I did that. I ended up staying, but
the list was good. Is that what
it actually, saying? Yeah. And I think what was good for me was envisioning possibilities.
Yes.
And it's like, this
really
is like
good.
It's like good. It's a good stage to do that for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. But think about yourself.
Yes. About your possibilities, not your kids' possibilities.
No.
Yeah.
Start all that energy you put to homeschooling.
Mm-hmm.
Put to yourself.
Think about how you're going to be shifting it to yourself.
Yeah.
Which I think is
really
right.
powerful.
It's right at this stage.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. Okay. Thank you.